Everybody today. Come on in. Welcome. I am going to do a sunflower print today on a piece of wood that I already had in my stash. I like to recycle. If I have a piece of wood that maybe I had last year and I didn't really like what was on it, or I decided to change it up, then I've got a piece of wood that I can sand off and make it new and beautiful again. So I'm going to be using this beautiful print today. I couldn't tell you exactly where I got it. It was either gifted to me or I just found it in my stash, so I wasn't quite sure where I got it to tell you. So sorry, but I see a lot of these all over the place that you can find. Now, I did go ahead and put a couple of stamps on here just to give it another little dimension on our background. And the paint color that I've used is the Magical Chalk Paint by Paint Pixie in Cream Puff. Cream Puff. I am going to fill it for her, and I will put that in the comments. So I used that, but it's a little light. So I thought I might just mix in that color and a little bit of the chai latte. It's kind of a more of a, like a, almost the color of my shirt, but a little bit lighter, kind of a camely type color. So I like that, and I mix those, and I'm gonna see how that looks on the background, and I might use a little bit of that, or I may lighten it a little bit more, or just a tad of it. So I'm gonna kind of mix and kind of see what we like with that. I do like the cream puff, so that might or might not work for what I want, but it will match some of the other wording in here. So we'll see if we do that. We won't worry about it right now. We're gonna go ahead and get our print down. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on our board. Somebody will probably ask what size my board is, and this one is actually an 8 by 10, I believe. It's 8 by 11. It's about an 8 by 11. So this was a regular size print, 8.5 by 11, and I took the border off with just a water pen, or you can take it off with a brush and water. You just go around. You don't want to saturate it, just a little enough water to tear it off. Okay, so I think it's going to be pretty. So let's go ahead and put it on. I have some force filled, which is what I like to use, and this can be this is a satin finished, and it's water-based. So it is a thinner material, but it works very, very well. You want to put plenty on there, and I like it because it dries satin colored. It dries in the satin. Thank you for joining me. Good to see you. Yes, give us a comment. Let us know you're here. It is very, very hot here today. Very muggy, very hot. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole surface, and that's going to give us a good hold. This is very good for your bottom and your top layer. And now we're going to put our print on. We're just going to put it, try to kind of, I just kind of eye things. I'm not real good to just sit and measure things. I just like to put mine on and just kind of move it, and I can do that with this material as well. I can kind of move it around a little bit like I want it before it will stick, and I like that. I do like having a little bit of time to move it just a little bit. Some products you can't do that, and then I just go around and do my edges just like this. And decoupage is one of my favorite things to do. It's just an art that is so good to make you some beautiful things, and it's not hard. It's not hard. It's an easy, easy craft. I'm just going to take a plastic bag. If y'all have never done this, you want to start in the middle, push out. That is going to push your print down where you have less wrinkles, and it's also going to give it a chance to move that decoupage medium underneath to kind of blend your print on here. There we go, kind of like that. So that's looking good. And I am going to be using some Paint Pixie paint, but I'm thinking I might want a little bit of that mossy color in the background. I've got a couple of moss paints. I think this one is too blue, so we definitely won't use that. Let's look at these right here. I've got a couple of others that we might use, might mix. So I just don't have all the colors that I would like to use with the Paint Pixie, so I might mix some of these and see how that looks. The moss doesn't look quite that color. Let me see if I have a little bit of, oh, this might work. Let me see if I have enough of this. This is the Cottage Green. This is by Afraid Not. I bought that a little while back. Let me check it and make sure that it's still good. One thing too is, you know, if your paint is starting to get a little dry, just add you a little spritz of water in there. And let me see if that will work. Let me get one of the brushes I already have out here. Let me rinse that out. And we're gonna see if that paint is still good. It looks like there's enough in here, but I don't know if I'll have enough to do the whole background, so we might be able to get away with it. Let's see. I kind of like the color though. Blending in with that looks good. So let's get it. Let me get something else for a palette. And let's take a little bit, see if we can get a little bit out now. I'm almost to the end of this. This has been a great color. Great color. I'm gonna see if I can get enough out. I think we'll be able to with a little bit of water to thin it because it is kind of thick. But that was Cottage Green. I really love that color. Just gonna put a little water. Water's gonna help give it a little bit more of a smoothness. It's okay to put some water with your chalk paint. Chalk paint loves water. It's a little bit bright, but I think it will kind of blend in. So let's see if we can kind of blend that edge just a little bit. There, just kind of paint up and blend to the edge of our print here. And we're going to try to get enough. I like this color, and even though it's a little off, it's pretty close. And we can always put some oxide or some wax on it, and that'll help bring in the color as well. So I'm painting right up to the torn edges that I have on my picture just to kind of blend in the edge of my print. And this is rice paper. But I did find it in my stash. Don't remember exactly where it came from at all. But there's plenty of these that you can find, and you can always find sunflower and bee pictures as well. So these look like this might have been a copy of a artist print, but I'm not for sure. I'm not worried about going on the sides right now. I'm just going to try to have enough for us to meet up with our picture. And I'm okay that it's not exactly the color. When you're doing art, just kind of do what you like. Don't worry about it being perfect. So those of you who missed, I'm Sheila, and this is my channel. I would appreciate you giving me a subscribe. I'm also on some other platforms. You can find that in my information. And I am going to be working with some Paint Pixie products today, and that is one of my affiliates. So I'm just going to paint that up to the edge. I know y'all don't want to see me be painting all day, so we're going to kind of get that done. All right, I think that will work, and we're just going to let that roll for right now. We can always go back and add more, but I kind of still like the color because I think it's blending pretty well on the edges. You see that I just watered it down just a little bit just to get our paint from being as thick. Your chalk paint does kind of get thick sometimes, and you know, it's usually still good. Just mix a little bit of water. Now, I do use distilled water in mine. I am pretty picky. I do use distilled water because I don't want to put any contaminants in it. there we go. Let's dry that up a little bit. And then let's work, I tell you what, let's just put it to the side right now. I'm gonna let it kind of dry on its own a little bit. And then we're gonna work on something else. So what I plan to do is take this mold, and this is using the Pixie Doh. So what I use to make this is a different kind of dough. This is a more of a foam. It is a foam dough. It's called Paint Pixie Dough, and it air dries. You can paint it. It's never going to get hard, y'all. It's going to always have a flex so that you can mold it around what you're doing. So I love that it moves, and you don't have to, you know, when you have, sometimes when you use the dry air clay, some of it works real well, and then sometimes it kind of breaks. So you have to be careful, and sometimes it shrinks. So this is a different product that's more of a foam clay, and it works really well and paints very well. I'm going to put that right down here in the corner. So we're going to get that painted up now real quick. I'm going to put this over on the side. Okay, I'm going to paint this up. I am going to use a little bit of the Magic Chalk Paint Honeycomb. So I mixed some earlier, but I may have to, and those are a little bit more in the yellow. So I think we'll have to mix a little bit more of this paint up. Let me see. I may have to use, I've got a piece right here I can use. I have paint palettes I like to use. I just like to use some little paper plates, little foam plates. Anything you have is good. So we're going to put a little bit of that. Now I'm going to see how that color goes with our print, and I think we may have to add just a little bit of brown with it, just to darken it just a little bit. We're just going to mix some paints. I love to mix paints and decide what I'm going to do. We're also going to put some brown in the middle here, so we'll need some brown. We're just going to do a little bit of that. This is called Chocolate Souffle. All of these paints are named after desserts, y'all. They make you so hungry when you use them. They just do. Okay, let's take our little tool here and let's pull some out to the side here, and let's just take some brown, and we don't want too much brown because we don't want them to be brown. We might need even more of the honeycomb. We just kind of have to blend it and mix it and see if we can get a color we like. And we may have to add some other color to it as well. So let's just do that. That's going to darken it just a little bit, but I don't want too much of the dark. Let's put a little bit more of this. And I love these paints because they squeeze out. Isn't that so much easier than those bottles that get everywhere? This is a great design. Okay, that might be our color. Let's kind of try it. Let's try it and see how that works. I'm gonna go ahead and wash this brush out. This is a brush I had from earlier. I did another little project. Let me get a paper towel. Okay, and this is a Paint Pixie brush as well. Love the brushes. And we're just going to take it and let's see if this is going to be the right color we want. I think what we'll do is we'll put this on the bottom and then dry brush a little on top of it. I'm thinking that it's almost the color. So let's just do that. And let's just put this on the bottom. This paints up really well. And I did have some of my subscribers ask for me to go through the details. Now, I know sometimes the videos are a little bit longer when we have to paint, but I did have a lot of questions. And some people like the quick videos, and some people want a little bit longer just because they want to know a little bit more about the products, how to use them, how to mix, different things like that. So I hope that you will enjoy some of the detail. I'm going to go ahead and turn my paper back over because I've already got some paint on this side. Let's go ahead and use it. And I'm kind of a messy painter and a messy crafter. You will see that, but that's okay because I don't mind getting paint on me and I don't mind being a little messy. I am perfectly okay with messy. So we're just going to kind of take our brush and kind of blend that in our mold. Don't y'all love this material? So easy to work with. Paints up great. And it's flexible. I kind of like flexible sometimes, y'all. Flexible is good. Let's make sure we get all of our edges. And I think we'll put a little bit more of the honeycomb back on top of this. Maybe dry brush a little bit on. This sunflower did not have as much orange as the other one that I did. So we're going to need to add a little bit more of the gold honeycomb color with this one, I believe. So let's do that. We'll go ahead and get our brown and go ahead and put a little brown in there. And I'm thinking this one has a little bit of orange with the brown too. So we'll probably put a little bit of brown and then kind of mix a little orange with that too, which I'm going to be using a color called Apricot Spritz. Apricot Spritz. And that's the color of that. These make you so hungry. Oh my goodness. Okay, we'll take a little bit of the Apricot Spritz. So I did see that we had a little bit of that on the outside. So we're going to take a little bit of that, a little bit of our brown. Go ahead and kind of just pounce that in just a little bit. And then I'm probably going to take a brush and move it in too. But I'm just going to put a little bit of that. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that Spritz and put it on top. So let me get a brush and kind of blend that in a little bit. But I do want, and I do like to put a little water on my brushes before I use them. So I'm going to take a little bit of the brown and just kind of get in the edges with this. But I liked pouncing that in because it gives it a little of a different look, but it also helps get your paint in there. So thank you so much for joining me today. Okay. Now I'm going to take a little bit of that orange. So let's dry this up just a little bit. Thank you for sprinkling. Hey, Monica. Hey, Denise. Good to see y'all today. Thank you so much. Y'all are awesome. If you have a channel, I'm not sure if y'all have a channel, Monica, you may have a channel. If y'all have a channel, put the name of your business in there so they can go and subscribe to your channel as well. These are some of my friends. I know I saw somebody on here that I know has a website. I'm not sure if they have a channel, but if you do, put that in there. Put that in the comments. And that way people can go and join your channel as well. I've got to join some other friends' channel as well. So we're going to just dry that up just a little bit. And it does fine for you to dry it, but it does best if you air dry it. But when you're creating, you can just dry it a little bit. Just don't put real hot heat on it. Just put it at an angle and kind of just dry it just a little bit, just like that. Okay, and now I'm going to take my dry brush back and I'm going to put a little bit of Apricot Spritz. And we're just going to put it kind of around the edges, just with a little dry brush, just to give it a little of that orange color. And if this is too much orange for you, you can always lighten it up by mixing some paint. I mix a lot of my paint just because I like to mix some colors, see what I get, see what happens with it. See how I put that on the edge of the sunflower? Now we may need a little bit more. We might need another little layer there. So I'm just going to leave that for right now, and then we might touch that back up. Now I'm going to get another. These are just the inexpensive brushes you can get from the dollar store. And you're going to be not even washing your paint out as you're using it. you might get more than one color. So let's take a little bit more of this, let's just get a little bit more of this honeycomb. I'm gonna squirt just a little bit right here on the edge. This is the honeycomb. I love this color. And we're gonna dry brush just a little bit of it by itself, just on the edge. You don't need but a tad, so just squirt you out a little tad of it and kind of let your bottle go back to the way it was. Let that air back out. Okay, now we're gonna just take this on here. I'm just gonna put a good amount, and then I'm just gonna take a little bit off on my napkin. And let's see if we can kind of dry brush if this is, yes, it does show up just a little bit on what we have here. Because remember, I mixed a little brown with it just to darken it a little bit. But now I'm taking a little bit of dry brush and kind of just lightening it back, lighting it back up. Sometimes words are hard for us, just excuse us. Thank you for all the sweet love. Thank you. Y'all are so sweet. Yes, I am trying to grow my subscribers on YouTube. Such a great platform to meet new friends and old friends and all of those things. So we appreciate you helping us creators. And you're welcome to fast forward, watch the replay, fast forward if you don't want to know all the details. But we have so many people that are crafting these days that really do like to have some details of how to do things. So we still have a lot of people that want to do that. I'm just blending some of that paint back in a couple of spots. I saw some white. So I'm just going to get a little bit here and there, and I'm going to put a little bit more of the apricot spritz because that was not quite enough for me. Let me put this brush over here. Just trying to find a place for it. Put it out of the way. So I'm going to take a little bit more of that and just pounce it back in just a little bit right in there. Yes, I like that better. I like that better. So that's looking good. I'm liking it so far. So I think, and you know, we can put a little bit more of this brown, but I'm going to take a lot off here. And I'm just going to take a little bit of it and kind of blend it in places. Just because this sunflower on our picture, on our print, has a little bit of brown in it too. So we're just going to take a little bit, and that's okay if the orange comes on it too, because you know they have a little bit of orange on them as well. So we're just going to take that. We're going to see if that kind of blends. We'll put our print back up here and see. Doesn't have to be perfect, y'all. It's definitely not going to be perfect. Never are things perfect. But I'm liking that. But I think I'm going to take a little bit of the spritz and put a little bit of this lemon crinkle in it and see if we can lighten this bright color just a tad and put a little bit of that on there. I sometimes just play with paint on my palette and just kind of see what blends and what I like best. Because sometimes you just got to blend a few colors before you get kind of what you want. So don't be afraid to kind of blend some colors here. Nothing wrong with blending and mixing your paint. So let's see if that's a little lighter. Oh yeah, I'm kind of liking that. Y'all know how sunflowers are different colors. I'm kind of liking that. That's giving it like another look. Look how pretty that is. Can y'all see? Didn't that make it nice? Yes, I kind of like that. It looks like a sunflower now with those little dots, doesn't it? Oh yeah, I'm liking that. So I'm just going to put that a little further around, and I think that's really going to bring out that sunflower. Love, love, love that. Now, let's just take a little bit of that and kind of, our sunflower doesn't have to be perfect, and that might be, I'm not sure I'm going to like that on the outside. So I'm going to go back to to a little bit more back to this and cover that up just a little bit. Didn't quite like that color on there, y'all. So I'm just going to go back and just take our brush and go back and just do back over that a little bit. And that's okay if some's underneath. It'll kind of blend in, and then we'll put a little bit more brown. So sometimes you do it and you're like, nah, that's not quite what I wanted on that part. And that's okay, because it will all work out. So sometimes you just have to have a couple of layers and just kind of play with it and get it back to kind of what you wanted. So there we go, got that back just a little bit. I like that better, like that better. Now I think I'll just take a little bit of our brown. Now I don't want the brown to be real heavy, so I'm going to take a lot of it off. I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to wash this off just a little bit of that undercolor, and I'm going to go back in my brown. You'll see that I love to just play with my paints and see what I like the best, y'all. Okay, now we can put this brown back in here a little bit and get it kind of back to where I like it. But I like a little bit more brown. I didn't like that other color as well. And I don't want too much brown. So it's called just practicing with it, y'all. Just practice and then take and just put you some paint back on. So we'll dry that a little bit, and then I'm gonna add just a little bit more of that honeycomb back in there, because I was not quite pleased with that color. It's more of a goldy, and so it does not have to be perfect at all. Your colors don't have to be perfectly matched. You won't always find a perfect match. So just kind of, just keep moving it. Just keep moving it, see what you like. And I think we'll take a little bit more of that honeycomb and put a little bit of that back in, because I'm not really liking that much brown. So sometimes it does take a minute to get the colors you want and to show people that you don't mess up. There's always something you can do. You can always play with it and find something else you want to do. So I'm going to take a little bit of this honeycomb back up, take a little bit off, and I'm going to put that back. You see where I'm putting it back over a lot of this brown, and see how I'm blending it back? That was the reason for doing that. I didn't want it quite that dark, and so I'm just going to go back. Sometimes you just got to try, see what you like. It may not be exactly what you like, so you kind of just have to go back into it and just put it back on. So just work with it, that's all. And get the colors that you like, the things that make you happy, the things that do what you like the best. And now I've kind of got it blended where it looks a little bit more like a sunflower. And you can always add more. If it wasn't exactly like you like, just put a little more. Just kind of dab your brush a little bit. I just dry brush that back on. So now I'm liking it a little bit better. And I still may do something else with it, but I'm kind of liking that. Now, this one has a few stamps that I put on it. I put a little bit there, a little bit there, just to give it a little something different with a little writing on the background, give it a little interest. We're going to let that just dry up just a minute. Let's move our palette over here out of our way. I'm just going to put it over there. And then I'm going to turn this over where we don't get paint all over the back. And I'm going to take and put just a little bit of either, I think maybe some wax today. I think we'll try some wax. I think I like that better. So let's go into our, I had it last night. I don't know what happened to that other wax that I had. I'm looking on my table. Give me just a minute because I used it last night. These are the Paint Pixie colors right here. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Well, I must have hidden it from myself. I may have a little bit in my brush that I can put on here. We'll just use some. Okay, I'm not seeing my wax. I'm looking to see if I put it in a different place. I don't see it, so we will go with some oxide. Here it is. Here it is. It was on my table. I thought, now I know I put that out on my table and I wasn't seeing it, so thank you. Some of you are probably saying it's right there. It's Dixie Belle, and this is Best Dang Wax. I love this wax. It's kind of a good wax to use to kind of bring in your edges just a little bit. Now, you want to put a little bit, but you don't want to overdo it. I like more in the corners. And then you just wipe back a little bit of it, and that's going to give you a little bit lighter color. I do like a little bit really in my corners, so I put a little bit more there. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do on this edge yet. I may leave it. I may go ahead and paint it green. So I'm not going to worry about the edge. I'm just going to do this to kind of blend in this background. You want a little bit on your print as well. So just take a little bit off. Just take a little bit off. You can use your cloth if you get a little much. And another thing is if you get way too much and you can't get it off like you want, and that's why I lightly do it with a brush, take you some clear wax and put over it, and the clear wax is going to help you take it off. So I'm kind of blending these edges just a little bit in here where our paper is meeting our paint. That way it's more of an antique look, and it also just kind of brings that in to look like it goes there. You don't want to have a big line between your paint and your print and make it just look like it's just stuck on there. You kind of want to blend things. Blending is your friend. And I had to learn that, y'all. I had to learn that when I first started doing this, that you definitely want to blend in your edges and make them look like they belong there. And so that's what I learned to do, and that has helped me more than anything, is just being able to blend a little bit. And if you get too much, you can always use some paint. Always use some paint. So we're not going to worry about the edges because we're going to let that kind of do that. You can put some around your print if you want to. You could put some in here, just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit, kind of in some of the little places here, just to make it look. And you see I did not put any more on my brush. I just used what was in here to kind of give it a little blend on my background. And that's how people do it. They just kind of blend it in a little bit. And you still have some on here. And you can put a little in your leaves if you want to. And that's what we have so far. Isn't that pretty? It is pretty. It looks good. Now, let's take our sunflower, and let's make sure it's good and dry. Now, I'm going to say that I don't know. I like it okay, and it's not going to be the exact color of this, but remember that sunflowers, sometimes I have some that will grow different colors in the same group, and then sometimes some other ones come up with it, or the birds plant seeds. So if that isn't quite what you want, then add a little bit more of your paint if you want to. And so I'm finding that I'm not as crazy about it. Looks like it's got a little too dark for me. So I'm just going to add just a little bit more of that honeycomb back in again. You just don't ever know, but it's still a little dark for me. So I'm just going to take it and just blend the edges just like that. And you see that I'm adding them and bringing that bright color back in a little bit right here on the edges. Okay, just bringing it back in just a little bit. And I think I'm going to like that better, especially on the top. I'm thinking I'm going to like that, and I am liking it so far. I'm liking that so far. I'm going to put just a little bit right up here against our little middle. So sometimes you paint it and you think, oh, I think I really got too much. Just go back over it. Just get it like you want. And then I kind of like that a little bit better. And I'm going to put that little yellow right up against that too. This honeycomb color. like that better. There we go. I think I got it like I want it now, y'all. It's not going to be perfectly just like this, but I'm kind of put it over this flower where it kind of looks like it blends there. It gives you a 3D effect, something different. May not be your thing. That's okay. It's okay if it's not your thing. Do your thing. Do what you like. I use a lot of paintbrushes. I have a lot to clean up when I get through. That's just me. It's my jam. So I am going to use a little bit of the Type Bond Quick and Thick. And that's what I like to use to put on the back of these molds. It works really well. Hot glue is not your friend when it comes to molds. They will pop right back off. It is not a glue it's going to kind of melt your mold too sometimes. So the best thing to do is use a wood glue or a fabric glue, one of those, to kind of use on your molds so that you don't melt it or anything like that. The hot glue is really, really hot. And this is going to give it a permanent hold. So we're just going to put some on the back. Don't worry about your back because it's not going to be pretty sometimes, but that's okay too. I'm going to wipe that off so I can put it back, put the top back on it. And I leave this upside down because it's almost empty. So I leave it upside down. Just take your finger. If using your finger to put it on bothers you, then just take a brush and put it on. But I am good with it. This is a good way to spread it. You want to make sure you've got some on your edges. Make sure you spread it out so that you can put it on your edges. And this is going to bend right on our print. Let's see which direction we want to go with it. I'm going to kind of put it right in here. So it kind of looks like the leaf goes with it. And I'm just going to put that down. And you see how I can just mold it to my wood, and I'm okay if some hangs off the edge. That is not something that bothers me at all. I don't mind that look. Now you definitely could have put a bow with this if you wanted one. Maybe a little raffia, but small raffia bow or something. I kind of like it like this. I don't know that I'm going to put a bow on there. You of course also can use, give me just a sec to make sure I've got this kind of down on my edges. Got those all kind of pressed down. And you can bend them over if you want to on the edge. Isn't that pretty? Something a little different, just a little different. You of course could put some jewels on here. You can do that. Also something else, I used a little bit of this on the other one that I did. I took a little bit of this new penny metallic. It's like it's kind of like paint, but it's also like a little paste. And you can just take that on your finger and use it kind of like a rub and buff. And just put a little edging on your print. And that's okay to have a little metallic. Okay to have a little metallic. Kind of on the edges. You can also take it and put a little bit on here if you want to. That'll kind of blend that a little bit. We can kind of blend that in just a little bit with a little bit of that copper. I like that. And then put a little bit of this on the edge. Now, I don't go all the way around my edge. I just highlight it. I just highlight with my copper. And this is the new penny. New penny. It's almost a new penny color. And I'm just going to spread it right here on the edge of this one. And you can always add it anywhere that you like. So if you want to put a little bit on your sunflower, you can. But that's just going to bring it up a notch to where it looks like something that you bought somewhere. You want to have handmade things, but you also want to make them pretty so that you like to look at them and like to use them in your house, in your home. So I just put a little bit here on this sunflower. And you also could take a little bit and blend right in here in just a couple places without too much, y'all. I'm just going to use just the edge of it and just put a little bit here and there just to bring that in, but not to have too much. Because you know I put too much of the other and I don't want to put too much of this. But this does give it just a little of a glow to where it kind of blends in. I kind of like that on it too. Looks like the sun has shown, the sun shining on it. Sometimes words just get kind of mixed up when you're crafting. So that copper just gave it a little sunshine, just a little sunshine. You of course could, it does have some words in the background, and I did add the a little bit of the stamps to bring that in. You could put a few more of those if you want to. You could definitely put a bow up here if you like having a bow. Put a bow up there if you like it. Just all kinds of things that you can do, but this was pretty simple, and I love the way it came out. So I hope that you liked this today, you enjoyed it. Be sure and give me a subscribe, and I will be on even more. And I also have some other ways of seeing me live, and you can see those in my profile that's on here. So y'all have a wonderful and blessed day, and thank you for joining me today. I enjoyed every minute with you.